Hi, I'm Alyssa, and I have a pretty small family. So I only really grew up with my mom, my dad, and one sister, and we have a cat. Um, my family specifically doesn't really need a lot because we don't have any like medical issues. Um, I would say the most important thing that we would need is probably food and water, but I feel like that's everybody. You can't live without food and water. So for that section, making a plan, how it made me feel, it kind of gave me a peace of mind to figure out how to make my own plan on what to do in emergency situations because I'm a big planner, so I don't like not having like a set plan on what to do. So that section kind of made me feel good reading it. Um, Really, nothing confused me. The info was pretty straightforward, in my opinion. The only thing I was kind of unfamiliar with was how to prepare your house for a wildfire or earthquake, because where I come from, we don't have stuff like that. So I guess it was good to receive that information. Um, in my specific area where I grew up close to the Mobile area on the coast of Alabama. So we're kind of used to receiving hurricanes, flooding, and every now and then we might receive a tornado, but they're not that common. But at my house specifically, we don't really get flooding or tornadoes, so our main threat is hurricanes. We don't receive flooding or tornadoes because my house is at a good vantage point, like weather-wise. We're on an elevated surface here, but we still have a hill facing the south where the hurricanes would come from. So it's like this, and then our house is on this part, and then it goes down again. So we don't receive flooding because we're kind of on a hill, and we don't really receive tornadoes because of the hill. And the hurricanes don't really affect us as much because a lot of the wind is blocked by the first hill. Um, to be honest, my family has never evacuated because that is extremely expensive to be able to pay for hotels or pay for somewhere to stay or to pay for gas, to pack up everything, buy more food. Like, it's not cost efficient. The only time I feel like my family would ever evacuate is if the hurricane was bad enough, like Katrina or something. Um, though, if we ever did evacuate and we didn't have the money for it, we could go to my Auntie Rolene's house, and that's always been the plan. But she travels so much, she's like rarely home. So we would be lucky if she was home when the hurricane came. Um, so when we don't evacuate, our main plan is to secure the house as much as possible. So usually we board up windows, we make sure we have gasoline containers, we prepare our generator because we don't have a backup generator connected to the house. We have one that you have to use gasoline for. So we make sure all of that is set. We check it before the hurricane to make sure it's still working and everything. We have a big deep freezer in our house, so usually we go and buy ice and keep the ice in the deep freezer. So if the power goes out, we can put our perishables in there to try and keep our food as good as possible so that not everything spoils, because hopefully we'll get power back before all the ice melts and the food goes bad, because that wouldn't be good. It would stink and we'd have to clean it up, and it'd just be a big waste of money if all of our food went bad. Um, for my family specifically, honestly, we don't really do a lot for natural disasters. Since I've been alive, we've never been through one bad enough to where we had to do a lot. So we kind of raw dog them. We don't really go out and buy like canned foods. We did once a while ago, and we never ate them, and they don't expire for like another 3 years. So we haven't gone out and stocked up on non-perishables or anything like that. We're just kind of going with the flow. Yeah, but that's basically the weather in my area and our plan for it. For my unique family needs, like I said earlier, we don't really have any medical issues or anything like that. So the main thing we would need is food and water. Most of us wear reading glasses like these, but we can maintain without them. It's fine. We really don't need them. Worst case scenario, we will not need them. It's not really need. My dad's back, he had surgery a while ago, and sometimes he still has pain in his back, so he takes Tylenol, so maybe that could be a need, but again, he can function without it. He has, and he can, especially if it's an emergency situation to the point where we have to evacuate, we'll be fine. It's not a big deal. Our biggest need, honestly, would probably have to be cat food for my cat. I can't live without my cat, so we're gonna have to find something to feed him. So that's definitely a need. If we were stranded, like in one of the sections in the manual was talking about, there's not much we could do because we don't have neighbors. We live in the middle of the country. But honestly, he would be fine. He has the habit of breaking into his 15-pound food bag and eating it and drinking out of the toilet. So I'm sure he'd be fine for a few days until we got back to him. But something I couldn't live without for 72 hours would probably be water. I'm pretty low maintenance. I don't really care about material things. My family grew up going hunting and fishing and stuff and off the grid a lot, so I'm kind of used to being in that kind of scenario where you don't have a whole bunch of luxuries that you would have. So I don't really think I would need anything other than literal survival things. But yeah, that's my family plan and my unique family needs.